Okay, so if you're an insanely humane warrior or an insanely humane warrior wannabe, by whatever name, if you feel that you need to become the caliber of someone that did the freedom rides, many of the activists in SNCC, Southern Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, I think, many in Tahrir Square, if you have the guts to realize that you may not be of that caliber yet, but the yearning to become of that caliber, then that's what this personal trainer is for. I've had that yearning. I still have that yearning to be better. But I've been burning with the desire to become something that could significantly, for one person, stand in the way of environmental Armageddon. And by using, in essence, this tool for the last 10 months, I've dramatically progressed. As the lead video in this book, in this sequence, and at the top of the spreadsheet I'm about to show you, indicates, as a matter of fact, these two live links. In column B, the first two live links in blue that you would see on your page. I'm hoping you can see this cursor, this mouse. These first two entries will take you, if you're online, right to those videos. And if you haven't seen them, they're a good place to start. It's my hope that you've read the book one or several times and tried to drink in deeply the meaning of each of the 95 characteristics. Those 95 characteristics are listed here in column A. Each of the numbers in column A correspond to the characteristic number in the book. And each of these links in blue in column B will take you to an online site that's been built with each of those essays. So even after you've read the book several times and then begin experiencing and using this personal trainer, you undoubtedly will come to titles that just don't ring a bell or don't ring clear enough or that you disagree with. And if you click on that link, it will take you directly to the essay. Now, a standard feature of Excel is that in a workbook there can be multiple pages. Each of these is of the same format. The first three are ones that I've pre-filled for thinking about each characteristic relative to what I know about Alice Paul, and that's what we've been looking at here. If I click on the second tab, this I went through and thought about what I had seen in the movie Battle in Seattle, the people that I called the window smashers. I don't remember seeing them a lot, but there was one very pointed scene that was in stark contrast to the third tab here, which are the down in the left-hand corner. I can use this little tab to this little arrow to go to the next, to see the next tab, which is World Trade Organization crane hangers, the male and the female leads that we see early on dangling from one of the few things that makes me really scared, which is heights, an extremely high crane. And my rating, if by any chance you can see this cursor, I rated it once. I thought of those two characters once, and I did a composite rating of them. Scale of -5 being, oh my God, just totally on the wrong planet, to +5 being, wow, nailed it. Not with any thought of influencing you, except to empower you with my views. For the window smashers, most of my ratings which are on your sheet if you fire it up, start in column F. I rated it once going down through all 95, and then I simply copied right to give you a better visualization. The black areas are clueless, -5, -4, -3. The most that I found was kind of neutral, 0, so it begins to get lighter there. The numbers you put in, which can be 4, 4.1, 4.2, 4.01, this is a gut rating. You can put in what you want. It will give you a visual representative from in the dark, black, to bright hot blue flame, which is what you'll find with a 5. The wall hangers, again, not to bias you at all, friends, but I think I owe you a picture of where my head's at. You see quite a bit of blue flame when I think about the crane hangers from Battle in Seattle, a movie you must see. Incidentally, in each of these first 3, which refers to movies that are available, hopefully you have them, hopefully you've seen them, but if you haven't, in, let's see, row 6 or so, in the column D, E, F area, here you would see a live link to where you could get the movie Battle in Seattle. And in a similar place on the page, you can find the same thing for Iron-Jawed Angels. And for the 4th or 5th tab, which is Freedom Riders, this tab here. Now, for Freedom Riders, I did not at all go through and do a rating because I wanted to give you, in this case, the opportunity to not have my input, to see the movie, in a link to it in row 6, I believe, column F. Watch the movie and then do your own rating for all 95 characteristics. One of the tabs is, of course, you. Now, if I haven't mentioned it, on each of these, hopefully you can see that in column B, over to the right, in row 2, you'll see a button called Insert New Column. You don't need to do that yet, because this first column D, which is in gray, will just begin to take your rating. So let's say you're rating yourself, and the first characteristic is, every breath I'm square in harm's way, shielding the innocents with my own body. That's what the heart does. That's what the first characteristic reads. Wow, I'm really there, you say to yourself. I'm a 4. It just color-coded you, and so happens that green, not black, not brown, but green comes up if you put in a 4. My theory is that the second characteristic, my theory is that the best time to cure a deadly epidemic, mass disease, mass insanity, is now, well before it goes terminal. Boy, I'm really on with that. I'm just staying focused, and my sense of urgency is huge. That's a 4.6 for me, and 4.6 is getting toward blue hot flame. This is very much biased toward someone that, probably like a Gandhi, probably like a King, almost has a binary rating scale. I'm either what the world needs to see, or I might as well be clueless. The point isn't to beat oneself up. The point is to save our target clients. So the difference between a -5 and a 0 is not going to get a whole lot of encouraging color change. It's going to be pretty dark. Really, up through 3.5 or 4, 3 anyway, there's not much of a change. But from 3 to 5, where we begin to be significantly hopeful to the world, then the colors accelerate in how much they change with a relatively small improvement. So the third characteristic, I'm being the change. I'm dying, totally giving up my life to see the world. By the way, we're all dying for something, aren't we? A date with that girl, recovery of my marriage, the promotion, the car, the meal. At least in this society, those are the things. But among the potent activists, the Inchi warriors, they're dying for the suffering to stop. They're dying for the injustice to stop. They're dying for a future for humanity. We're all dying for something, friends. We're literally giving everything we have for something. So hopefully you'll not be distracted by some sense of morbidity with the frequent use of dying here. The twist of this is the insanely humane. You know what? You know where their bodies are always? Literally or figuratively, they're in the way of the harm, because that's what the heart does, that's what the good mom does, that's what the good dad does. So, you know, if you find that language of dying offensive or morbid, then you're probably going to know really quick that this isn't for you. If, on the other hand, you'll pay any price, any discomfort to try and do your part of saving the world of the insanity that's in the final stages of dooming us, you're probably going to be okay with the language, and eventually maybe pretty glad that someone had the courage to remind us of what humanity does. It puts its body in the way. To die? No. To be reckless? No. To save the innocents, to shield the innocents. So I'm being the change. I'm dying, totally giving up my life to be the change that the world needs to see and needs to be. Gosh, you know, I really don't think I'm so distracted. I just don't have that mental focus yet. I think that's a -2. So now we're getting down into the dark colors. I'm living, I'm fighting, I'm worthy because I'm dying for every breath devoted to our neediest family. That's a Martin Luther King paraphrase. Wow. Yeah, that just doesn't apply to me right now. I get it. It just doesn't apply to me right now. I meant to put in a -4 just to give you an idea of what the colors look like. So now we're getting down into really dark territory. So that's the process. I'm going to clear those out, because this is what the page is going to look like when you start. But on the other hand, let's just put in some values as though you had just completed all 95 for your first time. And now 4 hours later you decide, you know what, I want to go through this again. And by the way, that's the way I am in the first weeks of using a tool like this. I don't have time. I need to get it fixed in my mind. I need it to become top of mind, top of consciousness. I just clicked that button that says Insert Column. This is a small, slow machine, so it's taking its time. It's just put in a column with today's date. It doesn't have a time. I don't know that we should be that anal about things. However, you can just get a little clever with how Excel works. So here you have a new column. It has pushed your previous rating. It's retained it and pushed it off to the right. So as you keep adding columns, your earliest ones will be pushed further over to the right. Your most current ones will be more toward the left, right next to the black column, which is right next to the 95 characteristics. And it's all ready for you to put in ratings. it's a real good idea that when you save your work the first time, do a save as, and instead of saving to what I sent you, or what you downloaded, Aspiring Insanely Humane's Personal Trainer, put in your name and save it. So now you'll have the original file in case anything ever corrupts yours. You can start over again. Hopefully that won't happen. I strongly recommend, however, that every once in a while you do a save as. So every once in a while, every 4 or 5 days that you've used this, and again do a save as, and create revisions for yourself. So, interesting happened here. Went to a different worksheet that I use. So this is our one with your name. Let's do a save as on that, as though you had been using this 4 or 5 days. And let's do an R1, revision 1, call it what you want. But every 4 or 5 days do that. This has a macro in it. You're going to start creating a lot of data, and every once in a blue moon a spreadsheet will go corrupt, and you probably just don't want to lose the months worth of visual reference for yourself. So that's kind of it. And if you follow the steps I just recommended, including doing a save as and adding your name so that you've left the original file intact, freely go do some experimenting, some playing, see how this works, see how the various links work. Actually, why don't we do that now, see if we can get lucky. My personal trainer. I just clicked on that link on this very slow machine. I expect that what it's going to do is bring up a new browser window. This machine is extremely slow in bringing up browser windows, but it has insanelyhumanewarrior.blogspot.com, intro to your personal trainer, I may take that off because that's, oh well, no, I'm sorry, yes. So with that you can go to the YouTube, which hopefully you've reviewed first, but if you haven't, now is a good time to do it. It's about 8 years ago, I built the version of this, more importantly the world process that had been my world since brought me to the point where college, I suppose, and then grad school, where there's a way to stop this, the death fast. A world I come to know very well, a world of extreme the first weapon we've had that can actually stop this. Hunger strike, self-immolation, too weak. One of all of this covered. Either I can fall off in something called, I lose sight of just one, or I can lose an global warming's death fast. A book which can be found on both the blog Start Loving and the blog Tracking Plan B. So this is simply to show you that the links are live. This brought up that introductory video, which is interspersed with me, but hopefully I've just clicked on a spot where you'll see that yes, it has graphics in it explaining the tool. Again, Don't struggle with this, friends. I've tried to provide you plenty of good material. Please go to it. Use it. If you're one of the ones that are reviewing this soon and now, then for the next 3-4 days, I expect it to be available on email, start_loving@yahoo.com, and by all means, feel free, if you've done your part of the work, to contact me and let me help you through, and then maybe you'll become a trainer to others. So insert new column. On several of these, you'll see links to movies that, by God, you need to see. I'm sorry, you just need to see them. Battle in Seattle, Freedom Riders, Iron-Jawed Angels, absolute must-sees. Limber up by seeing those movies or recalling them if you've seen them, and giving your own ratings. And if you like, look at mine. If you don't want to look at the ratings I gave, delete mine. But limber up without getting personal first by looking at independent references: Alice Paul, the Crane Hangers, the Window Smashers, the Freedom Riders. After you see that movie, think another blank page where think about the environmental movement today. Rate them by all 95. You know, Eisenhower, Allied commander in World War II, was known as a consummate planner, and he said plans are worthless, but planning is everything. Preparing the mind, shaping the mind, developing the mind, and that's what this tool is all about. Godspeed, friends.